Remember that golden Firebird roaring down the California freeways in CHiPs? The one that made Ponch look like the coolest cop on television? Here's the twist. That car, the one millions of fans called the Trans Am, wasn't a Trans Am at all. It was something else entirely. Before it became a TV legend, it was a wounded machine, a patchwork of wrecks rebuilt over and over again until no one could tell what it truly was. Every time it exploded, flipped, or got impaled by a forklift, it came back gleaming like nothing ever happened. Almost supernatural. But how did a humble Formula 350 end up masquerading as one of America's most iconic muscle cars? Why did the studio rebuild it 6 times instead of just replacing it? And what bizarre secret made even the California Highway Patrol part of this automotive illusion? Today, we're digging deep into the madness behind the myth. This is the untold story. 20 weird facts that turned Ponch's Firebird into a legend. Number 20, the replacement nobody noticed. By season 5, the Gold Warrior had simply become too battered to keep resurrecting. Then one week, the screen cut to Ponch sliding into a light blue 1982 Firebird, and the show carried on like nothing changed. No farewell garage scene, no last drive at sunset, not even a throwaway line. Visually, the swap felt sterile. The new car looked dentist office clean, where the old one wore scars like medals. Fan reaction tells the story. Comments on reruns still grumble that the blue car erased the character built by years of wrecks and rebuilds. That reaction is a lesson in television mythology. Audiences do not love sheet metal. They love continuity, history, the memory of a hero patched together and sent back into the chase. Remove that, and you remove the soul. The swap solved production headaches, but it also proved how attached viewers had become to an imperfect machine. Number 19, the time-traveling Trans Am. Long before the blue car arrived, continuity was already bending. Shots within the same chase would jump from a 1971 body to a 1973 face and back again. Grills changed, bumpers changed, the stance shifted. A viewer who had owned both years wrote that the lines were almost the same, but the details gave the trick away, and the fake shaker on a Formula hood was the real tell. On television, it played like a magic trick. On freeze frame, it looked like a shell game. The editors bet that motion would hide the swap, and most of the audience would never notice. They were mostly right in 1979 when people watched on small sets. In the HD era, the car time travels right in front of you, and that slippage has become part of the fun. The myth survives the mismatch because the chase keeps moving. Number 18, 6 cars, 1 legend. There was never a single Ponchmobile. There were multiples cycling through the schedule like stunt doubles. A hero car for close-ups, a stunt car with roll bars, a backup for when the hero was in paint, and a couple of parts donors. Add the random 1973 Trans Am, and you get a fleet that could swap wheels, doors, and even entire front clips before lunch. One comment nailed the vibe. Pure 70s TV magic, continuity errors and all. The trick only works because production treated the fleet as one character. Color matched the gold. Stick the hoodbird on, keep the camera low and fast, and the audience stitches the pieces together. That is how a half-dozen imperfect Firebirds fused into a single legend. The inconsistency did not break the spell. It became the spell. Number 17, musical chairs interior. The inside of Ponch's Firebird changed more often than his girlfriend's, and that's not an exaggeration. Early episodes showed a black deluxe interior with high back buckets, perfect for a 70s cop hero. Then suddenly the seats turned ivory, the panels tan, the console vanished. 2 episodes later, everything was saddle brown like a Western saloon. The next week, it was back to black, but cheaper. Viewers with sharp eyes noticed the steering wheel kept mutating too. Formula one day, Trans Am the next. Even the dash color drifted between black and saddle, depending on which of the 6 cars they shot that day. For a series that worshipped shiny hardware, the chaos inside the cabin was pure comedy. It was as if every time Ponch washed his car, he redecorated it. Yet somehow, the mismatched interiors made the car more human, flawed, moody, and unpredictable, just like his driver. Number 16, the taxpayer's Firebird. Here's where the show crossed from silly to surreal. Every time Ponch's personal Firebird was totaled, the California Highway Patrol quietly footed the bill. Forklift through both doors? CHP pays. Explosion? CHP pays. Demolition derby? CHP pays. The writers hand-waved it as undercover expenses, but even the fans knew it was absurd. One commenter joked that if real officers got that perk, the CHP budget would vanish in a week. Yet this running gag became part of the show's charm. It said something about 70s television, a world where paperwork didn't exist and taxpayers unknowingly financed a hero's eternal muscle car. Pure 70s TV magic, one fan wrote, continuity errors and all. The miracle wasn't that the Firebird survived, but that California's fictional accountants kept approving the repairs. Number 15, the two-wheel miracle. Season 3 delivered a stunt so unbelievable it blurred the line between choreography and accident. During a freeway chase, a bus clips Ponch's car and the Firebird tips onto its left side, riding two wheels for nearly a block. The stunt driver was supposed to land after a few seconds, but the car found balance and kept going. Cameras rolled, everyone held their breath, and the impossible shot became television gold. Estrada wasn't inside, of course, but he had to act like he'd done it himself. The only explanation in the script? Good thing I had my balance this morning. That's it. No physics, no damage, no consequences. When the car finally dropped back onto all fours, it drove off spotless. They tried to repeat it later, but could never pull it off again. One-take legend. Half luck, half miracle. Number 14, demolition derby betrayal. Imagine this. Your best friend takes your beloved car, the one you've rebuilt a dozen times, and enters it in a demolition derby. Without asking. That's exactly what John Baker did. His excuse? There was a bomb hidden in another car, and the only way to save Ponch was to sacrifice Ponch's Firebird. The scene is brutal. John slams the golden Trans Am into steel monsters one after another, crumpling the body panels like soda cans. The spoiler rips off, the hood buckles, the doors cave in. Then, miraculously, it's over, and Ponch actually thanks him for destroying his little bronze beauty. Fans couldn't believe it. As one wrote, if my buddy did that, he'd be walking home. Yet by the next episode, the car was pristine again. No dents, no ash, no scars. The CHP's body shop apparently had divine powers. Number 13, forklift through the doors. Season 4's episode 40 Tons of Trouble gave us perhaps the wildest moment in CHiPs history. During a chase inside a construction yard, a thief rams a forklift straight through both doors of Ponch's car while he's still inside. The steel tines punch through the driver's side, across the cabin, and out the passenger door, then lift the entire Firebird into the air like a trophy. It dangles there, 10 feet up, a golden shish kebab. Viewers thought that had to be the end. But in the very next episode, the car looked factory fresh. No holes, no warped frame, not even new paint. A fan later joked, that CHP garage must have been part Hogwarts. He wasn't wrong. Nothing else explains how two gaping holes the size of basketballs vanished overnight. Number 12, the explosion that insurance covered. One of the show's most infamous episodes, Downtime, begins with Ponch proudly showing off his fully restored Firebird. Hours later, it's stolen, wrecked, flipped, and finally erupts into a Hollywood fireball that would make Die Hard jealous. Flames engulf the car as Ponch and John pull the driver to safety, and boom, it's gone. Except, of course, it isn't, because by the following week, it's back again, spotless. The writer's explanation? Insurance covered it. That's all. No rebuild, no emotional reaction, nothing. One commenter summed it up perfectly. Insurance doesn't cover vaporized cars. Yet for CHiPs, logic was optional. The car's ability to reincarnate became part of its mythology. Every explosion made it more legendary, not less. Number 11, the rebodied resurrection. After the Downtime explosion, the production team faced a simple problem. There was no car left to rebuild, so they didn't rebuild it. They replaced it entirely. A different Firebird, a different VIN, even slightly different proportions. Yet the show acted as if nothing changed. Close viewers later noticed fresh panel gaps, altered spoilers, and a shaker scoop that sat higher than before. The paint's metallic flake even reflected light differently. One prop log actually reads, "New body for Ponch car, Jan 14, 1980. They'd literally swapped souls and pretended it was resurrection. But that's the magic of network TV in the 70s. Audiences weren't forensic analysts, and the myth was worth more than the metal. The rebodied car didn't erase the legend, it doubled it. From that point on, the Ponchmobile wasn't just immortal, it was replaceable by faith alone. Number 10, the ever-changing shoes. If you think the body swaps were bad, wait until you see the wheels. The Firebird's rims changed more often than Ponch changed partners. One week, black Kragar SS. The next, chrome Kragars. Then the center caps disappeared, came back, vanished again. Sometimes the fronts were chrome while the rears stayed black. In the same scene. Later seasons brought aluminum turbo casts, then American Racing mags, and once even 4 completely different wheels on one car. The excuse in the show: had to use what the shop had. The real reason: production scavenged parts from other cars just to keep one running. Still, those mismatched wheels gave the Firebird a rebellious charm, like a street fighter that didn't care about matching socks. It might not have been pretty, but it sure had attitude. Number 9, the Frankenstein bodywork. Ponch's Firebird was less a single model than a collage. Trans Am flares, Formula side vents, sometimes even a Judge-style spoiler glued on for drama. The crew would bolt on whatever Pontiac parts they could find in the prop warehouse. The result was a golden hybrid, part Trans Am, part Formula, part Fever Dream. One week it had both Trans Am and Formula vents stacked together, like the car had gills. Another week, only the left side had flares. The Hoodbird decal changed size, direction, even color, depending on who painted it that week. Fans joked it was built like Johnny Cash's one piece at a time. And yet, all those Franken parts gave it a personality no showroom car ever had. It wasn't a clone. It was a survivor stitched from Hollywood chaos. Number 8. The Black Episode Mystery. Episode 207. Death Watch remains one of the strangest mysteries in the show's production. Out of nowhere, Ponch's Firebird shows up completely repainted black. Not covered, not wrapped, painted. No explanation, no scene at the body shop, just black. Under the hood and door jambs, you can still see the gold bleeding through, proof it was a rush job. The next week, it's gold again. Perfect, untouched. Fans have been speculating for decades. Some claim it was borrowed for another production, possibly Corvette Summer, and painted back in a hurry. Others think it was just a lighting experiment gone wrong. Whatever the reason, the Black Episode became a kind of ghost story among collectors. For one brief moment, the golden icon wore mourning clothes, and nobody in Hollywood ever explained why. Number 7. The True Anaconda Gold. Beneath all those repaints and mismatched parts lay something beautiful. The car's original factory color, Anaconda Gold. It was a one-year-only shade for 1971, a metallic blend that shifted between bronze, olive, and deep honey, depending on the light. In sunlight, it glowed orange. Under the studio lamps, it looked pure gold. Later repaints used brighter, glossier shades, but none captured that strange, greenish depth of the real thing. Some restores today even mix Ponch Gold as a custom color to replicate that hue. As one fan put it, it wasn't just paint, it was attitude. Under every explosion, every bad patch job, the true Anaconda Gold still lived on, like the car's soul refusing to fade. Number 6. Little Bronze Beauty. Ponch didn't just drive his Firebird, he talked to it. He called it by names. My Little Bronze Beauty. My Bomb. Golden Goddess. Sometimes he'd pat the hood before a chase, whispering, "Come on, baby." It sounds silly now, but that ritual gave the car personality. It wasn't just a prop anymore, it was his partner. Over the seasons, fans started referring to the car by the same nickname. One viewer joked, he talked to it more than any of his dates. Another wrote, that car had more chemistry with Ponch than anyone else on the show. When a vehicle inspires that kind of affection, you know it's crossed from object to icon. In CHiPs, the Firebird wasn't just transportation, it was television's first emotional support muscle car. Number 5. The car that tried to kill John. Before Ponch ever called it baby, that same Firebird nearly killed his partner. In Season 1's episode Crack Up, the car belonged to a street racer named Niles who used it to run John off the road. The crash sent John to the hospital and put the Firebird in police impound. Years later, Ponch buys that very same car for $83 after its owner torches it in a fit of rage. Think about it. The car that once tried to murder his best friend becomes his beloved sidekick. The writers never mention that connection again, but it's chilling once you realize it. Fans notice too. One commented, "So John rides next to his attempted murderer every week?" That detail turned the Firebird from prop to folklore. Part killer, part savior, all legend. Number 4. The signature vents. For decades, people swore Ponch's car was a Trans Am, but the body tells the truth. Look closely at the lower front fenders. Those small rectangular vents are unique to the 1971 Formula 350. They can't be faked or swapped, they're stamped into the metal itself. The prop crew tried to disguise them by grafting Trans Am vents above, but that only made things stranger. Vents on vents like the car was trying to breathe through its skin. To Pontiac purists, that's the giveaway. It was never a Trans Am at all. It was a Formula in costume wearing its imposter parts with pride. Maybe that's why people loved it even more. It was pretending, just like every hero on television. Number 3. The fake shaker scoop. Nothing screams Trans Am like the shaker hood scoop, except Ponch's didn't actually shake. The crew had cut a hole in a Formula hood, bolted a Trans Am scoop on top, and left it disconnected. It wasn't attached to the air cleaner, it was just decoration. During chase scenes, the scoop would sometimes rattle loose or fly off entirely, forcing the team to glue or weld it back down before the next take. One stunt driver said, "That thing was held on with hope and duct tape." Yet visually, it worked. That fake shaker gave the car its identity, the illusion of power, even when it wasn't real. In that sense, it was the perfect symbol for CHiPs itself. Pure showmanship, nothing functional, and absolutely unforgettable. Number 2. $83 after arson. It all started with smoke. In the episode Neighborhood Watch, a furious owner sets his gold Firebird ablaze right in front of Ponch. Flames crawl across the hood as gasoline drips from the doors. Instead of walking away, Ponch does something no sane person would. He buys the charred wreck for $83 on the spot. The deal is absurd but symbolic. From that burned shell, the Ponchmobile is born. The show never explains how he restores it, where the money comes from, or who would even attempt such a repair. It simply reappears perfect, reborn. In a way, that's the essence of CHiPs. Optimism painted over disaster. For $83 and blind faith, Ponch turned a scorched relic into television's most immortal car. No logic, just legend. Number 1. The greatest lie of CHiPs. And here it is, the final twist. Ponch's famous Trans Am was never a Trans Am. It was a humble 1971 Firebird Formula 350, born with a 2-barrel carb and single exhaust. The studio dressed it up with Trans Am flares, spoilers, and decals, then lied to the audience every week. But the miracle is that nobody cared. To millions of viewers, that car was a Trans Am because it looked the part, sounded the part, and carried the swagger of one. It became the most beloved imposter in television history. Even today, fans restore gold Firebirds and proudly call them Ponchmobiles. One comment says it best: "That car made me love Firebirds forever." In the end, truth mattered less than emotion. The lie became legend. Before we wrap up, tell us which moment from Ponch's Firebird story blew your mind the most. The forklift, the explosion, the two-wheel miracle. Drop your favorite in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable stories behind Hollywood's most iconic rides. Because in the end, it wasn't just about horsepower or paint codes. It was about how a broken, patched up, not quite Trans Am made millions of us believe in something bigger. It wasn't perfect. It didn't need to be. It was pure television magic, rolling, roaring, and forever golden.